Okay. I guess starts technically when it's finished, but
If you want to count me in,
okay.
whatever makes it easier for you. So.
Yeah, I don't remember the counting, so we'll just as soon as I see my cart, we can go. All right, and start. Yeah, this is the Japanese version of Blaster Master. The Japanese version is easier for many reasons. Unlimited continues, things like that. Oops. Okay, guys, let me go down, please. So, during every single screen transition, we're going to be pausing. It just saves a couple frames each time. Come on, keep going down. Alright, so the first boss is over to the right here. I'm just gonna swim up because climbing is slow. Alright. And we're first top-down section to get to the boss. Oh, and I need to remember to switch my my sub-weapons over all the way to the right for missiles before this first boss. Yeah, before the first boss, so it's good for it after. Should have been another enemy there, but it didn't spawn. Okay. Gonna kill these guys to get the missile drops. I forgot to do one of them, so I had to do both of them at the same time. Not really an issue. And then we just spam. Alright, then first boss is down. Alright, so we got our first power-up, which is literally just to power up our weapon. It allows us to kill the first little mini-boss, I guess. There's only one... I think there might be another one of those doors, but we only go through one of these little eye doors to the left here. I try to go Blaster Master Zero route and jump over that area, but that didn't work. Blaster Master Zero, in comparison, is very... You get a lot of air with your jumps. It's very floaty. So if we did not have our first boss power-up, we could not have gone through that... Go through the door, please. Gone through that little dude there. Let's see if we can kill everyone. And we missed one of the first two. It's awesome. It doesn't really matter. You want to try to kill as many of these guys as possible, but it's not the end of the world. Well, thanks for the nice jumping area. So now we're obviously heading off to the second boss. It's semi-maze-like to get through this area. Spawns are always spawned at the same spot. The enemy itself can sometimes do different things, though, so I'm never quite sure. Man, missed out. Oh well, at least we got that jump. Didn't get that jump, though. And none of those dropped health. Oh well. Not really a big deal. We're not gonna grab that one because it's slow. Wow, I'm bonky. I feel like this controller might have a slight issue with the A button. Or either that or I'm just pressing it a frame too early. So, well, we needed the missiles in that first dungeon, obviously to help make that first transition better. But when we get to Area 3, the spread missiles are extremely useful. The bombs that those little skulls drop do 2 damage, which is 1 more damage than they really should. basically it's the strongest actual attack in the game. The only other thing that does 2 hits at a time are spikes. Or if you're Jason, your little dude Jason. Alright, I'm probably gonna grab health on the way out just in case. Alright, and I'm pretty sure I remember the way all through all these little dungeons. Thank you, little eye, for getting in my way. So, pausing, like I said earlier, saves some frames every transition. It's much more important to do them inside of the dungeons. That's where it saves the most amount of time. But it helps most places. There are some where it is a little bit slower to actually pause, but I don't know exactly which ones are which, so just do it on all of them and you're good. Alright, so this is going to be our first pause glitch. Oh. Slightly too early on the release. 2 ways. You can time it out, that'll be the fastest way, but otherwise the ballast makes a different sound when it's dead. So when the bombs are exploding, when it's dead, it makes a different sound. On that, it changes the pitch, and on the frog, it kind of just stops making noise. Please give me some more help. Okay, not right now. Alright, so we're down with Area 2. Well, Boss 2. Now we're gonna head to Area 3. This is a Metroidvania-ish type of game. Your map is interconnected. You can't really access one area before others. But you can skip an area. Except that's not where I want to go. This is where we want to go. Some slight tiredness rust on there. I don't know why I use my missiles there, but it's not a problem. This is any %. I don't need every single missile. Oh, nice. We got the corner glitch. With this, if you like hit the edge of a corner just right, you'll lose all of your momentum and just kind of fall or go up, depending on if you're jumping or falling. Usually it's bad, but on that corner, it kills all of your momentum, allows you to not get hit by the enemy on the ground, and usually when falling, unless you need to go a specific way, the glitch is good. If you're jumping, the glitch is bad. Those guys are nice because they like to give you health, but they are awful because if you screw that area up, it takes massive amounts of time, and they drop the stupid balls that deal 2 hits per attack. If this was, well, I guess no warps, we would be trying to kill some of these red guys here to get the hover that they drop. Even though they you don't have the hover upgrade, if you get hover before you get the hover upgrade, as long as you don't like game over, it will remember that you got hover, so you'll start with like 3 or 4, which is very nice. But we don't have to care about that whatsoever. Instead, we get to farm it later, which is even better because it's completely RNG based. And if the enemies don't feel like dropping you hover, you don't get it. And if the enemies don't feel like spawning, you just have no chance. So it's a great place to lose and make time. Let's see if I can... I missed it. Oh well. So what you can do with the little spread missiles, as you can see, you can shoot them forward, but if you time it just right, you can also shoot them straight up. Technically, there are a couple places where it's useful. Huh, that guy just spawned. That's interesting. I don't think I've ever seen that despawn. It works for me. That guy can sometimes just swoop down and hit you out of your jump. So if it's not there, that makes everything that much better. Alright, so we're gonna take a hit from this guy. We turned too early. I did not need to do that. Okay. So, the main reason... Well, there's two main reasons we do the Japanese version. And one of them will be evident after this boss. So, since this is the Japanese any percent version, we want to keep as much health as we can. We're not doing any death... Well, we are doing 1 or 2 death warps, but we're mainly doing a reset warp. So we got through that with most of our health intact. And it didn't feel like dropping some health. That's fine, that's fine. Let's avoid killing ourselves. Would have liked to get health there, but what can you do? Alright, let's see if I can remember where these guys spawn. These guys always spawn in the same exact places. It just depending on where you're standing is where they move. Oh, come on. Alright, we missed one. Oh, okay, don't kill me, please. Alright. So, if you don't kill them in time, they turn into a statue and all that, and it's annoying. Alright, so it turns to black. Just to be safe, we're gonna let it go back to the screen. We're gonna reset. And now we're at the beginning of the game again. And as long as I'm not stupid, we have hover. Yep. So in the Japanese version, you if you hit reset, you just go back to the beginning of the game with all of your abilities. So now we have hover, and we're at the beginning of the game, and these guys are going to drop me hover, right? 1. We need 3. 2. And 3. And then we kill ourselves. That way we spawn back at the beginning of the thing again. We're gonna do that to manipulate them to jump left. If you just hang out to the side, they won't hit you, but that's slower. So now, if you go up in Area 1, you go to Area 4. That's why you need hover in order to get to this place. So now what we get to do, though, is we are going to Area 5 because we do not need this boss. So we're going to do a quick skip that way. And we're through the little keys that you need. Oh yeah, so we're going to pause out of that. Except I could have done down. Alright, and then we're going to do this glitch one more time, 3 times. So basically what you're doing is instead of walking through the door to the right, you turn around at like the last second and you turn to the left. Oops. Where am I doing? There we go. And then you have to pause to get out of that state. Thankfully, we are doing the warp version of the reset warp version of this, so we don't have to make our way back out. That's actually more dangerous because that is a if you die on that screen whatsoever, you soft lock. So that's very fun. But we don't have to worry about that. We're gonna death warp after this boss. And if you've ever played this game as a kid, the 3rd boss and the 5th boss are probably the points where you decide that you don't like playing this game anymore. The 3rd boss is annoying, but it's doable. The 5th boss, if you do not have maximum gun, is basically impossible for a child. Let's just put it that way. It's definitely doable, but I think I beat this boss like 3 times as a kid. Alright, so if I was doing this optimally, I would be killing myself, but I don't trust myself, so we're going to do this normally for right now. So we're not going to kill ourselves on these enemies. We're going to give ourselves 1 life to work with, because this is the other reason why we like the Japanese version. Both versions of the game have a glitch to skip the crab. this version has a skip that's easy. So we go... Alright, so you basically pause as the screen goes black, and then you can move over here, and the boss moves over a little bit, and then you just kill him. He does not attack, he does not move side to side as soon as he gets to the point. You just kill him. And we win. So Area 5 Crab is easy peasy. And now, since I was playing it safe, we're gonna have to sit here for a second and just watch ourselves die. That's just me being, paying the price. You really, really do not want to pause at the same time you die, because you can soft lock. It's interesting. Alright, so now we got our, I guess dive gear upgrade, so now we can actually make it to Area 6. Alright, so Area 6, because this is a Nintendo game, we are almost required to have a ice area. This has ice physics, obviously. Ice physics make it hard for you to, it kills your acceleration and makes you slide. So basically, what you'll see me do as soon as I enter almost any room is jump, because jumping basically kills, well, it allows you to accelerate normally. I went too high, but that's not really an issue. Other than the fact that I fell onto a bomb. That hurts, but whatever. Oh, come on. Alright. So now we're gonna start climbing up. We have to play this nice and normal, because we do not have any hover to do a skip, because we did a death warp and that kills any hover you might have had, not that we had any in the first place. So we get to do a climb, which is slightly nice in its own way, because I get to restore all my life. Oh, well, that happened. Then we're gonna kill our momentum, do a little bit of a jump. I don't think you really need to, but just in case. And now, as long as this controller doesn't make me die, okay, we're good. And then we just make that little jump. It's not that bad to make, but if you fall far. Basically, you want to kill yourselves at that point, because that's the only way to get to that beginning of that screen nice and easily. If you're low on lives, you'll have to go all the way back around, and it's slightly annoying. Oh. Ah, come on. I did that suboptimally, but who really cares? This run is garbage anyway. Well, not complete garbage. We're doing okay. We're doing okay. Nothing major wrong is happening. So, the Area 6 boss is basically Area 2 boss. It's literally a color swap. I think it even takes the same amount of time to die. It's just 5,000 times laggier. The Japanese version doesn't do it as much, because the Japanese version is actually slightly faster in the fact that it doesn't lag as much. It still lags, just not as bad as the American. But this boss can decide that it does not feel like dying. It just zombies, and you just sit there, waiting for it to die. You can throw some bombs, sometimes that seems to help, but otherwise, you just gotta take what you get. But if you set it up the right way, it's very rare for the boss to zombie. The ice in these dungeons is actually extremely dangerous. If you mess this up, you just ping pong yourself up, see, like that, and you die. It's great. Because it's like you hit the acceleration goes out of control when you try to get back onto the ice, and it's just almost impossible to stop yourself nicely. But we don't care about that death. Obviously it lost us time, but we're doing a reset warp after this anyway, so whatever. Actually, I think that my boss might have a little bit more life. I don't know. Yep. No zombie. That's always nice. Okay. Basically, as soon as you see the screen go black, you're safe to reset, but just in case. And if you reset at the perfect time, it actually garbles up the messages, so it's pretty great. But it doesn't affect anything else, so that's good. That's perfectly fine. So now we're heading to Area 7. So doing that there, like that reset saved us, well, a lot of time, but in the any % version, that saved us about 2 death warps right there. And a little bit more. So now we get to backtrack again because Metroid. Swim around here. I took a lot more damage than I thought I did. Oh well. This room is extremely laggy. Alright. Did we kill everybody? Maybe. I think I might have. It does nothing for you, but I enjoy trying to kill every single enemy on that screen because it doesn't lose you any time. Alright. Then we're gonna head down here. Whatever. So, you haven't really seen me do it too much, but it's slightly faster if you have to turn after a jump to just jump off an edge at decently close to the long wall. But if you're just going straight afterwards, it doesn't save any time whatsoever. But it just slightly gets up your acceleration. Well, downward momentum, whatever. We had a little bit of hover. We could have gone off that... No, wait. Did we have hover? We did have hover. Oh, well. I could have gone off that wall a little bit earlier. Oh, yeah! So, this is where the newest routing change for Blaster Master occurred here. We're going to go for this skip as many times as it takes because I really do not want to do the other skip. So let's see if I remember how to do this. Alright. Oops. Okay, so that does not work there. I was way too early. I need to go far closer to the edge. Alright, so then we get all the way to this edge. Slightly too early on the pause, I guess. If we game over, it's not a big deal. We spawn basically right here anyway. We're getting this trick. Yeah, I'm going way too early. Like I said, we start literally in the same area, so... Basically, what we're doing is we take a hit, then the enemy gets into position, takes another hit, then we use the invincibility frames to walk onto the lava, and then we use that to get all the way across. If you need the pause, or else it doesn't work right. You'll fall just short. So this one's a little harder to hear. Basically, for that boss, you know it's dead when it's dead when it basically loses an audio channel. Basically. Alright, so now we have to kill ourselves again. So we get to kill ourselves game over twice in Area 7, so that's great. And now we're heading over to the final area of the game, which has the worst music, but it fits the area. It's not a great soundtrack, but it's creepy and it matches it's seemingly necessary, that's slightly too early. Messed up the Fiesel strat. Oh well. So, most NES games need an ice level and a weird alien flesh level. And this is our weird alien flesh level. So we go back into Area 3 though, one last time. Because the upgrade we just got, so basically I can show you like this. The upgrade we just got allows you to go on top of the wall, ceiling like this. This is a slower way of doing this room, but I don't feel like dealing with this at the moment. Wall 2 is basically, at the same time, the worst and best ability in this game. Worst because if you don't jump properly or lose your momentum at the right times, you're gonna fall into pits in Area 8 because this game hates you. The developers specifically made Area 8 to punish you for getting Wall 2. Basically. It's the only logic I can put to it. Nah, whatever. We'll have to do it, blind jumps. Alright, so we're gonna go across that. So you have to make sure your momentum is dead. You're not holding it right there, or else you'll do something like that. And if you do that over a pit, you will fall into it, and you will be sad. So right here, we're gonna give ourselves some momentum, and I messed up the jump. Oh well. And then we'll... So now we only have one life going into basically the worst room in the entire freaking game. Okay. Avoid those pits like this. Grab that life. Edge ourselves over these pits. Alright, we got a decent amount. Let's do the jump. Okay, we missed the jump. Oh well, not a big deal. We shouldn't die from this point. Shouldn't. This next area is actually pretty easy. The times you die in this room is where you try to be too cautious and you screw up. If you just go through this area basically normal, you should live 90% of the time. Although we did have a bad luck with one of the spawns. Alright, we got enough health to survive a bomb drop. Not that we should get hit by one. Except we did. And we missed that, so we're not going to be able to do the spike jump either. So we'll just do this nice and normal. We're not going to do anything fancy. And we're in the final area of the game. So we got those spinning guys that drop hover, and homing missiles. That's what those drop. Alright, so we're going to line ourselves up with this one. Way too high. So we're going to do a little bit of pausing to kind of double up our hits, and it prevents more balls from falling. Actually, we got a good position, even though I screwed up. Alright, so we could do this final boss the intended way, or not really in the intended way, but that's no fun. But we did it anyway, so we're going to have to do it the normal way. If we die, we'll do it the better way. Better as in worse, but better as in better. Alright, so basically, as soon as you see this little shield at the top right go away, that you know that you're there's only 30% left of the boss's life. So you can see the end, light at the end of the tunnel. And then as soon as it goes to black, we are done. Alright, not completely awful. Only one real mistake. Alright, Blaster Master! Yep. You're welcome, you're welcome.